This is Luke Rudy recording commentary for Day of the Baby. Day of the Baby was shot at the very beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody at Emerson had just been sent home, and we were going to finish our classes online. This film was made for one of my classes, which was Intro to Film, which was a class literally about shooting on 16 millimeter film. So that was sort of rendered obsolete by nature of the class becoming virtual. None of us could shoot film from home. So the end of the year assignment essentially just became make a short film about anything. We decided we wanted to make an homage to the spaghetti westerns that Griffin and I had grown up with. And Griffin was a great partner for this project because we both were so familiar with the Sergio Leone trilogy, and we knew the language of those films so well that so much of the direction and choices didn't even need to be explained because we both knew what we were paying homage to. This film is also a spiritual sequel to Night of the Baby, which is more of an experimental noir film that I shot for the same class earlier that year. It features the same baby that's shown later in the film. Not much of a plot. Griffin's looking for some gold. This is ostensibly where the gold is supposed to be. Those are my hands. But Griffin's reactions really sell it, I think. Only one gold coin. And here's the baby. Our art director, Shauna Rudy, did an incredible job designing the wardrobe for the baby. And even built this stand so that the baby could do the standoff. This is supposed to emulate the kind of dubbing that you would see in these Sergio Leone, Sergio Corbucci spaghetti westerns, where they'd typically be using Italian and Spanish-speaking actors in the supporting roles and dub over their lines in English later for the US release. And I think I told Griffin just to say gibberish until I told him to stop, and then did the lines in post. And I think the effect is somewhat successful, but if you aren't familiar with these spaghetti western films, I still think it takes on a sort of surreal quality. When I screened this film in our virtual class later, we were all given feedback forms that we could submit anonymous feedback, and one of the main complaints about the film was how long this standoff went on for, which I think only highlighted how unfamiliar my peers were with the work of Leone and Corbucci and Sollima. If anything, I think this standoff is shorter than those films, but I think it achieves the same effect. And I think the baby is particularly menacing in this film. In Night of the Baby film, I remember I purchased a baby doll from Target in haste, and the only one they had was a black baby. And this was, shortly before the summer of Floyd, and I became nervous that putting a black baby as the antagonist in that film would be misconstrued as racist. So originally I painted, or attempted to paint, over the baby's face with white paint, which some of my peers said was an overcorrection. But over time the paint started to chip, and in the end the baby started to appear as though it had the same condition that Michael Jackson suffered from. This was shot at the Marin Headlands at Hill 88, which used to be a radio station during the Cold War, and it was inaccessible by car. most people would only go up there on foot, but because we felt we were in a rush, we brought mountain bikes, and poor Griffin had to mountain bike up a good portion of this trail in skinny jeans and a red flannel. Hopefully not in the poncho, though. I wouldn't be surprised. For a long time, I was more proud of the Night of the Baby film, and this film was largely relegated to my YouTube channel for my family and my close friends only. But now looking back, this film is the one I'm much more proud of. It's got a lot more heart to it, and I think it's a really great homage. And I'm very glad that Griffin was willing to make this with me, because it was our first collaboration in a long time. To achieve this freeze frame, we just kept throwing this bag of gold and silver coins at a rock, and the bag just wasn't breaking. And when we finally did get the bag to break and the coins to spray everywhere, I became really self-conscious that we would be littering a bunch of plastic coins, and so I made sure to pick them all up. But poor Griffin, who was suffering in the heat and I think was really annoyed that I went to such effort, but I just didn't want to litter in this beautiful area. Our Italian counterparts. Well, that was Day of the Baby. Thank you for listening.